are we live with another edition of the Quantium Research Livestream. We have the ass getting ripped up on AO World. It's a super liquid company, 1.8 billion market cap when I bought, so let's say 5% higher right now than that. Are we live? Okay. Well, billion market cap when I bought, so I feel like something's gone wrong with my settings. No, we're all good. Okay. Right now. Well, welcome once again. Are we live? Okay. We've got 400.45 pence per share on bid, 402.05 on ask. We got in yesterday. This line means nothing. I was just on my phone, so I couldn't really get much context. But we had a clear trade in there. This line means nothing. And we bought 914 shares at 383.5 pence per share. We're up about 154 pounds, 55, minus 20 for fees and interest. Let's just say £1. That's 21 taken off, 134 pounds, 133 or so of profit at the moment. What are these bits showing? Okay, so that's roughly what the equity is. Take away 20 interest. Let's just say £1. So we've had quite a run with our trades. As you've probably noticed with the streams, we haven't been that active. There's been a lot of preparations with the new site, and we also did a fundraiser. The fundraiser was working with local students, and we were raising money for those sleeping rough in our local community, which we are now in the process of buying some funds for some supplies using the funds. The fundraiser was working with right now we are back chilling. This trade, rather, should I say, is more geared towards an investment, because I wanted to get in when there was a clear thesis to hold these guys, and I really expected just a full breakout, which means, yes, all-time highs were around 440 pence or so a share, but I really expect it to go in measured move territory, 520, 600, thereabouts kind of thing. And then I'll consider, depending on how things are, then see, pull up YouTube real quick. 520, 600, thereabouts kind of thing. And then I'll consider, depending on how. Okay, we are live then. See, pull up YouTube real quick. I'm gonna tweet something real quick. A lot of tabs are open at the moment. We're gonna have a look around the market, but you don't need to force a trade just for the sake of it. So we're just looking around this old list. We didn't get to update it, but there's no particular rush. Oil's done an interesting move. One thing we looked at last stream, GKP at around 100 pence. We wanted to buy, but whilst I was carrying out my research, they managed to just move. I think this was the big move. Yeah, this was about a day or two ago. And that was really what happened. Done an interesting move. See, they based it around last stream, GKP at around 100 pence. We wanted to buy 7 based around there. But whilst I was carrying out my research, that's very unfortunate. So we missed out 20% potential gain. Really, the target would have been about 128 to 140 on GKP, Gulf Keystone Petroleum. It's just a shame, but it's okay. Things are actually the same with these guys. AO is a very slow mover, so this isn't a stream trade. It's just me doing a little commentary, because I didn't get to show where we entered. But as you see on the account, we got in at 383.5, and now we could get up at 400 pence per share if we wanted. Normally these kind of quotes aren't entirely accurate, because when I wanted to buy at 384, I got 0.5 lower. So now if I wanted to sell, I bet you I'd get 401, because in terms of trades, The spread's 401
on the account.
to
So you got in
402.5,
383.5.
and there's a fair amount looking to take this ask up.
Per share if we wanted. Normally these
Okay,
kind of quotes
we are.
entirely
I'm live
because when I wanted to buy at 384,
talking
I got 0.5 lower.
about my hashtag.
So now if I wanted
AOL.
to sell, I bet you I'd get 401 because in terms of trades, the spread's
Trade.
401 to
Why I bought
402.5.
914.
And there's a fair amount looking to take this ask up. Normally these
Drag
kind
AOL.
of quotes
Hold.
I'm live because when I wanted to buy at 384, I got 0.5 lower.
About my hashtag. Okay.
Now if I wanted to sell, I bet you I'd get 401.
Don't just love it. This morning, oh, it's down 1%. That means nothing. It's just accumulation, man. It's just accumulation. Okay.
Normally these
Okay. Smooth indeed.
live because when I wanted to buy at 384, I got 0.5 lower. About
Okay.
now if I wanted to sell, I bet you I'd get 401.
Zoom
Just love it.
statistics.
This morning,
Price to earnings ratio
it's down
267.5. Return on assets for 10 years
Accumulation.
1.3%. Gross profit, nice margins there. The pre-tax income 1.4% is disgusting. Gross profit margins were at 80.6%. Crazy. Well, now we have some form of weakness going on here. Tightening of spreads, penny either way.
Zoom statistics. Price to
This doesn't really mean anything
267.5.
because I want all-time highs.
Return on assets.
I'm not gonna let myself get played.
1.3%. Gross profit, nice margins there. The
Really?
pre-tax income 1.4%.
There's no sign of anything cooling down
Gross
for now.
profit margins were at
Let's
80.6%.
see.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, now we have some form of weakness going on.
We'd
here.
reevaluate at a test
Tightening
of
spreads,
highs,
penny either way.
but I'm expecting it to go stick
This doesn't really mean anything.
half the
I
session
want
and then
all-time
break
highs.
through
I'm not gonna let
and
myself
target
get played.
the 5 highs.
Gross profit, nice
It's funny though,
margins
this is a stock that
Really?
we'd expect
There's
to
no
fall
sign of anything cooling down
when the market is doing well,
Margins were at 80.
but it has developed some form of status that is an anti-beta status. So when the market goes up, this goes up. When the market goes down, this goes up, which is just absolutely amazing.
half the session.
Just gonna log on to Bloomberg real quick. Got a notification. Oh yep, AO higher than 400.
It's funny though.
Trading
this
view
is a stock
notification.
that we'd expect to fall
At 400, always a psychological level, eh?
but it has developed some form of status that is an anti-beta status. So when the market goes up, this goes up. When the market goes down, this goes up.
I'm gonna save myself the hassle
Absolutely amazing.
and get 4 time frames up.
Just gonna log on to Bloomberg real
Perfect.
quick. Got a notification. Oh yep, AO higher than 400. It's funny though. Trading view notification. We'd expect to fall.
Switch these out.
400. Always a psychological level, eh?
Hey, oh, let's go.
That is an anti-beta
I never would have thought this company would be making money, especially in the first half of the year where we've had a global pandemic.
And get 4 time frames up. Just log on to Bloomberg real quick.
Yeah, somebody asks, why did you buy into these guys? Well,
Trading view notification.
when the news was out before, yeah. In all honesty, there is a much higher probability of my move playing out now than any
I
other
never would have
time.
thought
So
this company would
I'm
be
comfortable
making money. Especially
paying,
in
what, a
the first
20%
half
premium?
of the year where we've had a global pandemic.
A very, very likely turnout.
Yeah, somebody asks, why did you buy into these guys?
Get everything a
Well,
little clearer.
when the news was out before, yeah. In all honesty, there is a much higher probability of my move playing out now than any other
I'll look at
time.
chat and stuff in a bit.
I'm comfortable
Just gonna
especially in what a 20% premium of the year where we've had a global pandemic. A
Could I
very,
align
very
them?
likely
That might be a nice thing.
Yeah, somebody asks, why did you buy into these guys? Everything a little
Okay.
clearer. When the news was out before, yeah.
What's going on there?
There is a much higher probability of my move playing
Let me just get a text on my mobile real quick.
than any other. I'll look at chat and stuff in a bit. Just
I've opened the wrong thing. I need to be careful I don't open private email.
Somebody asks, why did you buy into these guys? Okay. When the news was up before, yeah.
What's going on there?
There is a much higher
So we're gonna put up. Let me just get a text on my mobile real quick. Daily.
chat and stuff in a bit. Just
I've opened the wrong thing. I need to be careful I don't open private emails. And
okay.
weekly.
When the news was up before, yeah.
That's enough context
Just get a text on my mobile real quick.
for H and 1H.
Stuff in a bit. Just
Open the wrong thing. If anything's basic, this is. I need to be careful I don't open private emails. And yeah. I'm more inclined to not look at these guys.
That's enough context.
Because all it takes is a couple of minutes in the day for the majority of the trading action to take place. If anything's basic, this is. Yep. Okay. Someone in the chat also asks, what are we looking at? Well, we're live right now, trading on... I'm not trading, streaming trading on TradingView and YouTube. For some reason Twitch isn't up,
for the majority of
but
the
that's
trading
okay.
action.
We entered at 383.5, obviously not today, because you can tell that loads of the day weren't even near there.
Okay.
That was
Someone in the
yesterday.
chat also asks,
Was that?
what are we looking at?
I think it was around
Well,
1
we're live
PM.
right now.
I
Trading
woke up from a
on-
nice long nap
I'm not
and
trading,
I saw
streaming.
this
Trading
breakout occurring.
on
383 is where we entered. There we go.
and YouTube. For some reason, Twitch
Nothing
is
too
okay
complicated
for the
there.
majority of the trading action.
This hasn't happened.
We entered
That's
at
wrong on the price chart.
383.5. Obviously not today.
But it's really been a
because
straight line
you
up
can tell
since
that
then, which is
Loads
cool.
of the day weren't even near
Kind
that.
of want a glass of water.
That was
Something.
yesterday. Also asks, what are we looking
I'm hoping to hold these
It's
guys,
around, well,
break
we're
some
live right
new
now.
all-time
I
highs.
woke up from a nice
Really
long
is
nap.
what I would hope for.
This breakout occurring.
Beautiful daily as well.
383 is where we entered. There we go. YouTube.
You rarely see this
Nothing
kind of
too
formation.
complicated there. This hasn't happened.
I mean, if anything, it's straight to highs.
Obviously not
I can't
today.
exactly
Really been a straight
pinpoint
line up
where,
since
but I'll
then.
play
Which is
the game of momentum.
I want a glass of water. That was yesterday.
I feel like it's gonna cool down for a near term.
I'm hoping to hold these guys, break some
Situation.
new all-time highs. I woke up from a nice
Really
long
is.
nap. What I would hope for.
The momentum's so nice.
Beautiful daily as
on
well.
this one.
There we go. You rarely see this kind
The
of
spread might start getting better as well.
This hasn't happened.
Also,
I mean, if anything,
for anybody who hasn't actually traded real money before, right?
exactly pinpoint where, but I'll-
One point of advice, if you see a quoted kind of bid, right, on, say, a live price provider, sometimes you'll see things like, okay, 400.5 pence on bid, so to sell or to short. If you want to buy, say 401.5 pence is the ask price. Now, that is, what you're quoted from a live price provider, or the actual
for
market
anybody
has.
who
But
hasn't
sometimes when you
actually
use
traded real money
a
before,
different
right?
broker, a broker
One
instead of
point
just getting the live
advice,
prices,
If you see
your
a
quotes differ.
quoted
Because look
kind
here,
of bid,
for me to sell, my quote is
say, a live price
400.45.
provider,
Remember
sometimes
here
you'll see
it
things
was
like, okay,
401.
pence on
So the
bid,
broker is
sell,
getting you those direct
short.
kind of situations in the
If you wanna
market.
buy,
But to facilitate it,
401.5
their
pence
spread
is the
is a
ask
little
price.
bit larger. So
Now,
if you bought at
that is,
401.55,
what you're
you sold at
quoted from a live
399.95.
price provider, or the actual
It's a
market
little
price.
bit different to the
Sometimes when
market,
you
but it's
use
more
a
realistic.
different
So that if you get that rate, you
broker
get that
instead of
rate.
just
You
getting
don't
the
get
live
an
price.
incorrect
See, your
rate
quotes
kind of
differ.
thing.
Look at, for me to sell,
And
my
let's
quote is
just say
400.45.
you
Remember
buy
here, it was
at 401.95, you sell at 399.95. That is the broker getting a spread from it as well.
Is a little bit larger. So, if you
So I wouldn't
bought
worry
401
too
for
much
five,
if it's
you
like,
sold at
I don't know,
399.95.
0.1
It's
away
a
from
little
where
bit
you
different to
want.
the market, but it's
Just
more
get out.
realistic.
Don't get too
So
emotional
if
about
you
your
get that
price
rate,
targets.
you don't get any
If
incorrect.
you have a target that's
rate
basically
correct.
right where it is.
For me to sell,
Because if your
And let's
risk, for
just
example,
say
if getting out of a position
buy
at say
401.95,
let's say 399.95 instead of 401, right? And your risk is like 380, say where we opened.
So I wouldn't worry too much if it's
The
like
second, oh, I'm so sorry.
away from where you
You're entirely right. I've turned my audio down. That's why I couldn't hear that. Carbon Impulse. Sorry for that. Thank you for letting us know. Okay, I'm going to redo that then. So, what I was trying to say is, if you're trying to get out of a position that you bought at a lower price, you were long, and you want to get out at, say, I don't know, 401, and you bought in at, let's say, 383. Price went to, what, just under 400 now. You don't need to get 401 exactly, because think of it, if your risk is all the way to 340, you're risking 60 points for the sake of being right about that 1 point. Don't get emotional, get out kind of thing. Morning, Carbon Impulse. You can tell it's an early morning. And some breakfast, and we're just observing our long in AO World. But this is more of an investment. I thought we'd get some on the 10K portfolio. Because really the key way to making returns on a portfolio is having investments for a relatively long period of time. It's interesting though, because this is one of the most expensive companies on the London Stock Exchange. But irrationality goes on for much longer than you'd think. And I think it will take these guys into all-time highs. Because here's the thing. When a company is classed as a quote-unquote growth stock, tech kind of status, they don't really have too much tech, but I would say Algos would class them as tech. You would expect them to not be making money. Now, these guys weren't making money, and their cash was around 20 million or so. It would have run out. Now, here's the thing. AO World's cash generation is up 84 million from the previous half, which means they have more cash. Yes, it doesn't matter whether it's from financing, debt related, whatever. They don't have to pay it off within the next 2 years, as far as I'm aware. So that shows they're in a decent position with respect to that. Now, their profit for the first half was around £18.5 million. I thought they'd lose. What is the plan for growth? Online sales, man. In 1 year, the first half sales in the UK were 500 million last year, same half. Now they're 711 million. That's almost 50% growth, you know what I mean? Things are going crazy, and that is a growth stock. Tech companies like that. This isn't really a tech company, I'd say, but you know, in the US, you have them doing huge returns, Tesla, etc., and all that. Okado, for example, Okado actually hasn't made money, as far as I'm aware. I haven't seen them make money, and they went all the way from £2 to 20 kind of thing. Yes, these guys were what, 50 pence? Are we talking at the lows of Corona? Maybe even, yeah, thereabouts. Pre-Corona, they were only 100. Now they're at 400. Why am I buying them at 4 times pre-Corona? Well, because under the current metrics for its status, it's valued at around £6, £8, £9 kind of thing. And it's interesting. They've got employee options at around £9.80. And I think employees can make a fair amount of money. Yeah, I missed AO, but in all honesty, they didn't establish a status of what... Here's the thing, right? For anybody who's new to the stream, I love things called anti-betas. Now, let me put up the shares. Okay. So what I call an anti-beta is a stock that moves up regardless of the relevant market move. So let's just say the FTSE, whatever the index of that particular stock is, crashes. If that stock crashes, it obviously gains a correlation. And before, you can have stocks that aren't correlated, that all of a sudden when everyone starts selling out, hedge funds, pension funds, etc., regular investors start selling out, say, in the COVID crisis or whatever, when that started back in March, then stocks that didn't really move with the market all of a sudden get a correlation and everything starts selling off. Now, here's the thing. AO World was one that did sell off. Yeah, it sold off heavy. It almost had a 50% haircut, right? Not a pretty one indeed. But what happened was when the market recovered, they recovered a couple multiples over. When the market started falling, they kept rising. They developed this anti-beta status where basically with my model, right, for those who monitor this stream regularly, obviously what I don't show is my model. And when I backtest, I rarely ever get any examples that meet that criterion. The one I'd missed was Okado. AO is the nearest one to it in the UK. And that, whilst it isn't entirely an anti-beta, on a smaller data set it comes a little bit closer. But with US stocks, we can get them easily. We can get basically a large majority of the NASDAQ. Why do you think the NASDAQ 100 is up 40% since the beginning of the year? What are we, in one of the greatest bull markets of all time? I thought we just came out of a recession, or are still in a recession kind of thing. So it is very interesting to try and digest all that information. But with AO World, I believe that there is some form of anti-beta nature and status, and the price is tending towards that point where the company kind of wants it at £9.80 or so. Positive news flow, everything. They've got all the positive surroundings of a decent investment. Tight float, which means sticky shares. People aren't really interested in selling from 100 all the way to 400. Don't see that kind of model on Stockopedia. No, it's my own model that I've been working on for so many years. I started trading in 2013. I didn't know what I was doing, in all honesty. I got lucky probably in my first couple of years. But eventually I realized that you had to have a system. And a couple of years in, I started working on it. I learned code. I started being fascinated by the quantitative elements of the world. This is the new age of investing. Quant stuffs. I feel like people overuse it, but it doesn't have to be that complicated. But I have a dream one day. I want to run my own hedge fund. You know, not small. I'm talking billions. All that stuff would be a nice aspiration. And to get there, what I need to do is keep refining my system. Am I primarily a spread better now? No. In all honesty, for the sake of this stream, we're using a spread bet account. Basically, if you're new to these streams, the live streams, we are actually live right now. I put £10,000 of my own money into an IGCFD account, and that was about a month ago or so. And we're up to 10,574 plus the P&L right now. I don't normally like to add that, but around 140 takeaway fees and all that. So we're up about 7% or so. Raikia Accumulation Inc. Class D. Carbon Impulse. I will give you your fair cut if that's the name I use. Raikia Accumulation. I don't know. I do like that. But we're not going to call them Class D. They've got to be luxury ones. Class A shares. I would never, ever do you guys the disservice of giving you Class D shares, C shares, none of that. Not even B. You guys get the first and most valuable shares. I want to bring value, man. But with the model, it's beautiful. So what I do is I also have my own investment portfolio. The reason is I don't like to monitor them every single day, so I thought that wouldn't make sense doing it on the stream. With trades, you know, we've had in and outs, all that stuff. But if you have an investment and you look and you're up a little bit of money, you start to get nervous kind of thing. So what I do is I normally just set alerts and casually monitor the news flow. And if there is some form of deviation between that news flow, the data I'm looking at, then I obviously look to get out. I have a Bloomberg terminal up on my other screen, so I'm actually going to get that up and update myself on a couple of companies' institutional shareholding levels. It's beautiful how you can see that data. It's just amazing. Let me get this text real quick. Verification code, BBA anywhere. Okay. And I'm launched on my other screen. Perfect. Whoa, 402.45. Are we on more new day highs? AOL going crazy, and it's only up 2%. We're doing okay for the day, I guess. Hold up, I need to make sure. Oh, also, thank you to everybody who even shared or supported in the fundraiser we did. We raised £565 for people sleeping rough in my local community. And this is central London. So there's a lot of people on the streets at the moment. And what I've done for the past couple of days, reason why I haven't been able to stream, is I've just gone on a walk around central London to try and see what are the areas where we can find most people who genuinely need help. And I spoke to a couple of people, made some lists. In fact, I'll protect their names, but I listed something. Someone wanted a hoodie, water, trousers, socks, blankets, some necessities that we take for granted to this day. In Fleet Street, there was someone who wanted water, a thermal blanket, cereal bars as food, a pillow, a mat. My suggestion was that we can get these little sleeping bags. Because here's the problem, right? We don't have enough power, resources, even as a community, I don't, let alone, to help take people off the streets and all that. But what we can do is try and make a difference, put a couple of smiles on people's faces. If someone's sleeping on the hard floor, we can get a sleeping bag, a pillow, some mat to put underneath so that you're not having direct contact with the ground and feeling cold and all that stuff. But we wouldn't have been able to do this without the support of our wonderful FinTwit community. So on behalf of everybody involved, I'd like to thank all of you for helping us do that. And hopefully, I think because of some people were getting items in bulk, we're probably going to do it just before or just after New Year's. It's now a little week later than we'd initially planned. But hopefully we can be the ones that swoop in after everyone's finished celebrating for New Year's Eve and forgets about those most vulnerable in our community. Carbon Imbol says, haha, any news from GKP that we're going to fill that gap? Oh man, if you remember the stream where I was saying, do I buy a GKP? Everything fundamentally with respect to GKP checked out. I was just assuming it was too good to be true. And are you asking, did I buy the shares myself? Unfortunately not. I got distracted. And that was with a couple of other things. Exams coming up, all those little bits. So I didn't get the chance to properly dive in. And normally it takes me about a week, 2 weeks to properly make sure that I have a strong investment case in something. And I wanted to buy it 100. I didn't. I could have even bought for a trade. You know, it's now 121. I believe it's going anywhere between 128 and 140. If you guys have seen that previous gap, the closing of the gap was 136. Well, the high point. This one 118. Now that we're at 120, I assume consolidate around 118. Yep. The fact that we've broken, there is a thesis to buy all the way till 135. I'd say 140 just as a rough figure, but really 134, 5, 36. I reckon that's probably the first stop, if anything. GKP's on a good run, that's for sure. One bit of news I was unhappy to hear. Premier Oil's changing name to Harbour Energy or something like that. Chrysaor's assets, which weren't that quality. Premier Oil's tax credits. All that stuff come together. It's not beautiful, in all honesty. I'm not a fan. In fact... Oh, Ahmed Business messages. Man, I'm new. I don't understand anything. I mean, I'm not in the US and I don't have a visa too. I'm new and I don't have a visa by any chance. I'm not sure. I'm not that qualified in finding visas. But what I would say is, if you like the area of investment and trading, oh, this is a great idea to put a plug, but I'm not going to put a plug. I would look and see what nearby brokers are, what kind of assets you can trade. De La Rue print passports. Damn. That was such a dead business, though. Can we just appreciate how De La Rue... I have not heard of De La Rue at a time. What am I doing? Delaware. De La Rue. I don't remember their ticker symbol. LSE listing. DLAR. Wow. Well, I guess the passport business has been okay since the COVID lows, but not before. dealer. Ooh. Carbon Impulse. When did you get started trading? How was your experiences trading, investing? What's your kind of system? Because you asked earlier, do I just trade sped bets? No, I don't. Only. This is just for the sake of the live stream. I invest, I swing trade, day trade, whatever really. My favorite thing to do is have investments that are generally for longer periods so that you can get the meat of the move. Not just for a day you'd get a couple of percent kind of thing. But what I'm posting about, streaming about, are these quicker kind of things. Because it's entertainment at the end of the day, you know. For someone to watch the last video we put out on the YouTube channel, by the way, make sure if you're subscribed to Quantum Research, if not already, please do on YouTube, because I'm actually putting out a new video right now. Look at that, moving averages, talking about exactly how exponential moving averages work, smooth moving averages work, weighted moving averages work, volume weighted moving averages work. I was just trying to say these words. And look at that, just from the thumbnail. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Should we see?
Oh, look at that. How to calculate, how to use them with trade examples. These are the best bits of resources you can get. They're going to be free videos out on YouTube and also soon on our site. In fact, I'm going to add it to the technical analysis playlist right now. No, it's not made for kids. Let's see. I'll add the tags later. But we're going to upload this. Here's the thing I was trying to say. People like watching making £402.61 trading Jumia shares, right? The irony is I'm actually making this much money on the trade, but it's not a video where I'm just saying I'm up, I'm up, I'm down, I'm down. It's actually content that shows you real trading in action. Because a lot of people post on social media, oh, I'm up 20%, I'm up 30%, I'm down this much, I'm down this much, and then they color out their profit loss. If you do that, we can't verify whether you're even doing something worth mentioning kind of thing. Now, posting money isn't a right idea. Generally, it's not right to do so. But if people are relying on what you put out as a fact of how this industry works or how real traders kind of live, then let's put out a series where it's entirely transparent. If you want me to refresh the page, I can do that. Go to my trade history, we can do that. And this is completely separate from all the other things that I can't regularly track and update every single day kind of thing. Carbon Impulse says, exactly like you, student. I respect that, man. I got exams coming up soon. So shout out to all the students out there. But we're all a student of the market as well, nonetheless. Doesn't matter how old you are. Now I'm studying for the CFA. Woo, that's big, man. I was thinking about that, actually. What was the other one? The Chartered Institute of Management Accountants. I was also thinking of doing that, the CIMA. I don't know why, in all honesty. I just feel like the more qualifications, the better it looks. And it's also quite valuable to be on par with industry. So when it comes to proving that you can differentiate from industry, showing exactly what's wrong with those elements of industry and saying you could still pass those elements. Because a lot of people say, you know, if you can make money for yourself, work for yourself, why do you go uni, accumulate all this debt and all those kind of things? But the truth is, by going to university, you have a base. And by getting top grades in uni, you're proving to those people who say, you know, you were never meant for an education system or anything like that, that you can develop, you can grow. I think there's really no downside to that. You pay, what, 60 grand in debt? Yeah. And you pay it back once you're making a certain amount of money. If things go well for you, say you go in industry or you do things yourself, that's not going to mean much. That money won't be much at all, even with the 8% interest that comes along. But you must expect to pay that back, obviously. Because you'll have more worries. Taxation. You know, if you make a million a year, 45% tax rate kind of thing, that's just a lot that you have to pay off. So it's not that straightforward. But I would say education system is useful. That's why I'm doing it myself. You know, I live in London. the rent I have versus student loan, it's nothing significant. So, you know, I still have to put a lot of excess towards I work as well. You know, you just have to keep hustling. That's the only way. No complaints, just keep hustling. And now you work in the industry. Do you work in the industry now, Carbon Impulse, or are you planning to work in the industry? I'm not sure what I read from that. You started with about 10K at the start of the pandemic on about a 40% return. That's perfect. Great job. I mean, as long as you're managing your risk, it's wonderful to see. Value stocks, Lloyds, Barclays, maybe 30% riskier stuff like GKP. Yeah, well, I mean, look, if you have a 10K portfolio and you've assigned a maximum exposure limit, say 25% of how much assets you have, you will put in one particular sector or one particular stock even, if, say, you're trying to increase your risk, be a little bit more aggressive. When I'd started, I had a crazy kind of system. I was putting everything on one stock kind of thing, which was ridiculous. Then I slowly transitioned into a more aggressive approach, changed from one stock to, 40% in one stock to 40% in a sector. And then gradually started looking at different asset classes, real estate exposure without actually having to buy a property, all that stuff. Compliance, nice. Carbon Impulse. Are we not on LinkedIn together? Are you on Twitter? Because we gotta connect, my friend. If you are on Twitter or something, because if you got my Twitter, let me just send that right now. Or for anyone who doesn't, I'm there at Ryan Kia too. DM me. Let's chat, man. It's cool to hear from folks who work in industry. Compliance, I hear from everybody that it's a real headache to get around. So props to you for getting that. Yeah, my full name's Ryan Rahimi Kia. So it's Ryan, Rahimikia. Kia's just the last three letters. Reason why we're Ryan Kia is because it's so much easier. Because, when you see Ryan Kia, it fits in a username box. Sometimes my full name doesn't even actually fit. So I could just be like Ryan Rahimi or something like that. So Ryan Kia just makes it cleaner. Last three letters, boom. And Kia's the nickname anyway, so that's all smooth. What's going on here? Just to cool off. Nothing serious. Is that your question? We went to the same uni. Oh, you went to Cass. I heard they're having a name change, so apparently some of the names are crazy. They were going to call it Margaret Thatcher Business School. I don't know where that came from. Oh, man. Oh, I've got you, man. I've got you. Oh, yeah. Because, the lady that does the recruitment. That's quite cool. Whoa. Yo. Nice. That's a hustle, man. Nice. Big respect to you. Cass boys still haven't got a pedestal. Yeah. We haven't sped up, that's for sure. I'm a Cass boy at heart. In fact, I was planning on going there earlier. But it's just the weather in London is so cold, man. Oh, I saw lots of value stocks, Lloyds, Barclays, and maybe 30% on riskier stuff like GKP, etc. Money from the risky stuff goes into value and cyclical stocks for next year. That's what I love to hear. Yeah, it's interesting, actually. We've been having a debate on some of these streams when we had a couple of more people, normally in the evenings when folks are more around. But we were looking at the difference between growth and value. And I believe that growth really just had a little bit of a blip for like a week or 2 weeks. Value was only recovering because the general economy was recovering. It's like the Nasdaq's still up 40% year to date. The FTSE isn't up year to date, So whilst value stocks have recovered, they aren't delivering. They simply aren't. The data shows it from the past decade that growth stocks are winning. AO World, for example, is a growth stock. I'm going to put up a company that is a value stock, in my opinion, in a similar area in terms of appliances. This is Dixon's Carphone. Dixon's Carphone have done real well as of recent. Also, shout out to Ronnie Chopra, friend of ours on Twitter. He was buying Dixon's car phone, and look, they are doing absolutely amazingly. Wow. Base could even happen 122, and you still made a chunk of money. I love to see that. Let's see. Wow. These guys. Here's the thing. Corona lows around 50 pence to 127 now. AO around 40 pence to 401. So really, yes, this is grossly overvalued on a simple absolute measurement approach basis. But what I would say is AO World still has more legs in terms of multiples, 2.5 versus these guys. What are we talking? A 50% kind of thing, let's just say. So whilst AO World is definitely much higher in valuation versus Dixon's, the revenue growth in terms of actual revenue, not a business that was previously in retail, that's losing retail revenue but gaining online revenue. That's just switching the means of your sales. Think about it this way. If you sell in-store and then you go from in-store to online, yeah, and you're selling the same thing but you can't sell in-store, that's not growth. That's getting your revenues back. And as you pointed out, Carbon Impulse, Dixon's mobile division is getting slaughtered. It's an ugly business in general. EE and all the other guys have struggled in that sector. It's tough because look, they're lowering their prices each time. The fixed costs stay the same. Margins are getting slaughtered time and time again. Pressure goes on them, and it only gets worse for the company in the sector. And the only way you win, it's just like construction. The only way they win is when the other competitors, major competitors, go out of business and they end up buying those assets. Then all of a sudden their costs are a little bit lower, margins are a little bit better. It gets tougher for people to come in because the industry just looks ugly. Airlines, for example, Monarch and all those guys who went bust, made it better for the ones who were in the industry after that. Problem is, coronavirus crisis came now. Now the ones who can't really survive at 2/3 operation are going to struggle. You'll probably see some folks maybe going bust or selling off assets, downsizing, call them retrenchment, I believe that's what the word is, when you sell off assets and get smaller. And what you'd see is the bigger guys have higher revenues and better margins on that. Different sectors work in different ways. When you look at tech, a lot of these companies are losing money, but they establish a strong user base and they monetize it. Google bought YouTube a long time ago. Remember, YouTube used to have no ads. Now YouTube has probably 2 ads per video on average. I was sitting watching on my TV earlier through the Amazon Fire Stick. And I go on YouTube. I just want to watch like a 5-minute video. 2 ads. 2 30-second ads. You can skip them after 5 seconds. But it's just really cool to see how they've now monetized that area heavily. Traditional media advertising is struggling. I guess the shift of power is occurring as we speak between online, retail, that kind of thing. So what I would say is AO still has more potential than Dixon's, but Dixon's could potentially be cheap. They did have some really nice results recently. I like the fact that they had sales growth, but here's the thing. AO World is having that revenue growth on an overall basis. In the UK as a whole, their first half revenues were around 500 million, I believe, back in 2019. In this year, their first half revenues were around 700 million. In fact, I'm going to pull up Bloomberg real quick to get just an extrapolation of that. Save myself the effort of having to calculate or go back to these numbers. Okay. So revenue expectation for the year, yeah, roughly 1.556 billion pounds. In 2020, it was about 1.05 billion pounds. So we're talking 48.8% is calculated for us. 48.8% growth in revenue year on year. The net income was a loss of just under £200,000, nothing huge. Year before, £12 million loss, £10 million loss the year before that. almost £4 million loss the year before that. What's happening this year? An expected £37.6 million for 2021. Year to date, in terms of accumulation, this first half's already, 19 million pounds profit. So yes, they are trading at a high multiple. What are we talking? 50 in terms of forward 12 months price earnings ratio. But 50 is not that bad for a company of these guys' nature, considering, let's see, they'd been losing money for the past 4 years. So to make money, the whole valuation structure shifts, which in my experience sends these guys into oblivion. So I'm just waiting for that. We're not that far off all-time highs, literally 10%. And once we break that, there's an easy pop in there too. Let's have a look at cash. So cash on the last statement was 6.9 million. Yeah, that was my problem. I wasn't buying these guys at around 300 or so. Was it around this base? Even when they went 440 to down here at 340. I wasn't buying them until I kind of clarified that they have now 80 more million in cash, but guaranteed 24 million in total, which means their cash is building. So the only way I could see this working out for them is positively. So I bought them. Didn't need to borrow money. Damn, I wish they had showrooms or something. I can't commit to buying things like fridges without seeing it. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I bought a mini fridge from Amazon, you'd think of all places, and it looked like they've got a couple kicks in it. They punched it up, because I did not buy a new one, that's for sure. But I mean, sending it back's just going to be a headache. And what am I going to do? Get a tenner for all that effort kind of thing off the price. It works. That's what's important. But you'd think on Amazon everything would be perfect. I feel like it's impossible in general. And the customer service of AO, we've heard, is better than most around. I don't know how they do it. But whatever they're doing it correctly. So, yeah. Really, their sales growth is crazy. In Germany, if I can put up Bloomberg and divide it instead of do all that stuff myself. Let's look at segments. Oh, do they actually do it for the US? I don't think they... for the UK, I don't think they do. Geography. Oh, they do. It's amazing. Okay. Let's see. So in Europe as a whole, they had 144 million revenue in 2020. So for the year before, we'll just say. Bear in mind, FY 2021 is a little bit different. Let's just assume this way. Last year, they had 1.046 billion or so in revenue, right? From sales. Now, 901 million, let's just say 86.2% of that revenue was from the UK. 13.8% was from Europe. So the main market in Europe is Germany. That was 13.8%, right, of their total revenues. The majority of their gross profit came from the UK. It was 177 million over 901 million. In Europe, they weren't actually making gross profit either, so I assume they were trying to build their presence first, bump up revs, that kind of thing. And yeah, so the UK made income, Europe didn't. So what I assume to be the case is as UK revenue is growing, their profitability is growing. In Europe, now they've started to be able to actually reduce that loss status, which means they're making money on an overall basis. 18 million for the first half of the year means that they're probably losing very little in Germany, yet they're still able to grow revenues by 50% on a year-on-year half one basis. First half, 50 million from Germany alone. Second half, 100 million from Germany alone. That's beautiful. I just really like the look of this business in terms of growth stock. Normally, if it was a traditional value stock, I wouldn't like it, but I even now it's, as Carbon Impulse says, the company is on solid ground. Wow, it's crazy. They've got enough cash. For those who followed me on Twitter for a while, you know how I can't get into a company that doesn't have a clear cash position. Now, a while ago, we had a company called Korean that didn't have enough of an ability to generate cash, and it had lost a ton of money. Basically, that's the way I can summarize everything. We went short. This wasn't on live streams because we weren't streaming back then. But I went short, personally, and they ended up suspending. They were never here anymore. To close that, it was a long process, but we eventually got to, which is quite nice, through the secondary market, because some investors wanted to get out. But here's the thing, they weren't liquid. Companies that are liquid are able to grow like crazy. One thing Tesla did was they made sure that they always had enough cash. They would secretly raise, nothing too serious, little issues and all that. AO World has raised very little before. If they were to raise, I think it would be positive, but they don't need to anymore. A couple of months back they did, but the fact that now they're actually making money for the first half of the year, and they're probably going to invest all of that money in growth, they still don't need to. I really like the look of this business. Whilst at the moment I would say I'm trading, I'm comfortable with riding to new highs, which is nice. I mean, we have £3,500 in here. I do have an investment outside of the 10k trading account, but that I really don't intend to close for a fairly long period of time. But here I think we should have something on par. Yeah, something like 36% exposed on our 10k account, which is relatively aggressive, I'd say, but it's not enough size to have that kind of proportion weighted side. So on my other account, I have a smaller percentage exposure, but I have a larger amount in here. Okay, company's on solid ground now. It is indeed. Okay, let's see more stats I can pull up. Anything? I like these companies that are ESG strong. It's quite weird. This isn't one of them, but it's just a random thought that came up. Yeah, it's the first time in 4 years where their financial situation has been this strong for AO World. So I would say I'm comfortable sleeping with these shares in my account, not worrying too much. Are they liquid enough to be shorted? I think we shorted them recently. No control risk though. That's some situation. It always scares you when you see slippage factor 100%. I think it's 9:30. I had a couple of plans today with respect to the fundraiser. So we're probably going to do that. But I kind of feel like I want to use this Bloomberg terminal now, because it's just so beautiful. I want to look at the balance sheet one last time. Anything? Inventories. Yeah. It's funny, manufacturing businesses generally, they have more money that they have in payables that they have to pay to suppliers, but they don't pay them back until they get their money, so it's slow kind of churning cycle. So that's only one threat, the ability to manage those. That's the main threat, I'd say. But you have that in every business of this nature. So if that's the only problem, I'm very comfortable. I was going to look at the ownership. There was a hedge fund in particular that was buying shares in these guys. There was someone who was selling as well. Heavily. Let's see. Okay. I'm just going to look through some recent filings. 8 million UBS. That's what I was looking at. 12 million Standard Life. That's a switch between. That's what I wanted to see. Jeez. I just looked at one bank, UBS, and how much they lost shorting semiconductors. Wow. 400 million pounds. Most of these industry shorts are getting battered. Well, they haven't lost 400 million. They probably made a lot of money, but they gave a fair bit of that back. Let's look at UBS's AO World Holdings. Oh no, I'm looking at UBS's holdings everywhere. I can't put this on screen, by the way, because Bloomberg is too private to unfortunately share. It could get me banned from Bloomberg. So I'll just try and explain. Let's see, position. They have sold on the... They sold 2020 Q4. They sold 8 million shares at 346 pence per share. So they were selling Q4 into this rise. They managed to sell 8 million shares, 32 million pounds, roughly 2% of the entire market cap, and yet the stock's still rising. That's funny. But their cost basis, if you do last in, first out, you get 120 pence. First in, first out, you get 181. Average, you get 127. So they doubled their money. So they made 16 million pounds. That is a hedge fund investment, I tell you that. Wow. Most of the holders here are investment advisors and individuals. You've got the US holding 34.9% of a stake. I want to see where the largest holders are there. First Pacific Advisors, big one there. Wow, I think they've been relatively constant. Let's see. Table. Yeah. These guys bought 13 million. I think that's just a switch. Nope. Wow. I guess everything looks good on these guys' corner. I want to compare a float switch real quick. When are we going? Here. Let's say end of this week. 12th, so 19th of October. Monday. Okay, so there's been a fair amount of sellers into this rise. A 30% increase, 10% float reduction. But the float was basically near 100%. Let's see. Any Brexit effect from this company in particular? You'd think, but really, all the pain's already come. I feel like all you need is a Brexit deal, and this is another company that will come out as a strong performer. If there's no deal, the whole market takes a hit. And yes, I assume these guys probably should be hit, in all fairness, because they do have that kind of commerce. They've got commerce in Europe, and it's growing, so yes, potentially so. But on a deal, this is enough of a potential rise to take them to new highs. So I wouldn't be too worried there. And you know what my stop is? My stop's at, I haven't put it in, but my risk is about 340. So I'm comfortable with losing about £400. So you can see I'm really trying to catch the meat of this move as it happens. It's a nice weekly candle. Really, there's 2 days left of the week. I like to be near towards them highs. We'll have to see how things go. What's going on here? We selling off? Let's see. I kind of want to go outside, but it's so rainy. Yeah. Really, from where I opened till now, I'm still comfortable. In terms of the trend being in my favor, I'm not looking to hold this now and just make some money, you know. I could easily close now, make 100, £1,620, and then just leave for not really much work. That's not what my plan is. It's not about the money, it's about the points, and the points don't fairly represent the evaluation for me. There is some selling going on. Institutional investors, though, have been doing okay, in my opinion. Let's see. I want to see buyers here. This is the 20th, 30th of the 11th, 12th, 10th of the 12th. Okay. So the last ones, couple sellers. No, I've done it wrong. There we go. Okay. Deutsche, buying a little bit, nothing serious. Amplify Investments, Credit Suisse. The nearest ones, we had BlackRock buy more, 870k's worth, so that's roughly 3.5 million, 3.2 million pounds. They bought. This is on the 31st of. Oh wait, that's wrong. This doesn't make sense. The 31st of the 12th is in 2 weeks' time. 16th of December was yesterday. They filed an increase. State Street sold the same amount that they bought. BlackRock's accumulating even at 380 average. Wow. I guess we're cooling down. Where's the index? Relatively negative. The thing is though, this should be about to break out instead with this index action. It's nice that we're 14 pence up though. Let's see. Another one. OD. OD sold a little bit. That was in the 1st of December. OD owns 18.5 million shares. OD Asset Management are geniuses. The way they get everything at the right price, man. Yeah. I'll have a look at Deutsche and how that's... No, not Deutsche. BlackRock. And how they've planned out. Since 2017, they've been accumulating. Early 2020, they've been buying a little bit. I just think it's a strategic position. Market value, £41 million BlackRock's holding in AO World. 2019, that was £4.5 million. Wow. This is the beauty of the asset management world. Slowly accumulating a position in a quality growth company that is just unloved by the overall market gives you free money. Even with big money to accumulate a shareholding in these kind of companies. These guys do it best. Shout out to them. Let's have a check on Twitter though, because what I want to do is probably... I might take a little nap, because I need to get some of these videos out. Long evening ahead. That's a nice line. Bitcoin's at 22,000. I'm going to watch Emily in Paris. Wow. Check the YouTube chats. Alright. I don't think I missed out chats. Shouldn't have. Check there. Nope, no, nothing. GKP straight to either down to 118, then 128, 135 or so, or just straight there. Now it's done for me to trade it because I'm taking too much risk, but it's very likely to do that. So good luck to the folks who are long there. This is Rolls Royce's chart. Ooh, a wedge. Isn't DX a postage company? Talk just got taken private. No way. No way. For real. That's crazy. That is crazy. Why have I not seen that on Bloomberg? Gotta get to work. Good stream. Look forward to next. Appreciate you for coming through, Carbon Impulse. We should definitely chat soon. Tosca Fund, of all people. 1.1 billion. They already own 30%. Huh. I think that's smart because it's a dead company on the stock market right now. I should log into the FT, but I always forget about it. 30% stake. 97p a share. Oh, I'm getting a call. Let me mute myself real quick. Hello? Hello?
Hello, Mr. Ryan. Mr. Ryan, do you hear me?
Who's this?
My name is Adele. I'm calling from BTC Trans Company, sir. I see here in my system that you showed some interest in online trading and cryptocurrency.
BTC who?
BTC Trans, like Bitcoin investment. Did you saw how much is Bitcoin today?
Bitcoin.
Yes, $23,000 US dollars. Did you trade before?
Bitcoin is $23,000.
$23,000 one Bitcoin today. It's higher like never.
Whoa!
Like the best time.
Wow!
What?
23,000.
On Google.
23,000. Wow!
Yes.
What
Yes.
do I do next?
To put an amount and to make extra money next month.
Is it guaranteed? Do I guarantee you I'll make money? Of course.
Of course, we have. Yeah, we're sure and secure company, sir. You can speak with manager if you are interested. So I can tell you.
Oh
the
no, I
price
trust
right
you.
now.
I don't need to speak with the manager. If it's free money, why would I say no to that?
What?
Why would I say no to free money? You've guaranteed me already. Yes. How do I pay?
If you have money on your card, you can make in 15 minutes your transfer.
Let's do it.
You sure?
Yes.
Are you,
It's guaranteed, isn't
are
it?
you very sure?
I am 1,000,223% sure. I'm 100% sure.
Okay. Mr. Ryan,
Yes. Speaking.
how many do you have on your card, like to put an amount?
How much is enough to buy a Bitcoin?
You can put $1,000.
1,000?
Much more.
That's
And
too
you can
small.
put-
Are you trying to insult me?
Okay, I'm very serious right now. And then I don't have time to waste it. So if you are very serious, so let's do it.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
have a lot of people that are calling us, so I don't have time to waste it.
I'm sorry. I apologize for wasting your time so far. Don't worry. I want to buy.
Yeah.
Can I buy a
What do you
million?
want to buy?
A million.
I'm very serious right now.
I'm very serious. Do I look serious?
No, I don't know you, and I don't know.
Well, I don't know you either. Why the hell did you call me out of nowhere? God damn! God damn! God damn! How'd she call me out of nowhere and say, "Why are you wasting my time, bro?" You call. Yo, on that note, we are going to end the stream. Shout out to Mrs. Very Serious Woman. I just wanted to say that was a random person that called me. So please don't ever buy anything from someone who says this is guaranteed money. Because look, in this trade, we were up around 170 earlier. Now we're only up around 140. We've lost a little bit of money. No, I'm just playing. But look, damn, this lady was crazy. Appreciate you, Carbon Impulse. We're probably going to end the stream on that note, because I've got a couple of stuff with the fundraiser to do, ordering some supplies, and I'm going to try find a room so we can get a couple of folks in, volunteers and all that stuff. But yeah, this lady was trying to sell me Bitcoin. She knew my name. I'm worried because normally they use fake names and all that, but she actually called me Ryan, so I thought it was a work colleague or something. Oh man. For real, my hand. There we go. Okay. Well, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. All the best, man. Appreciate you. We'll catch you soon. Oh, and we're down another 10 as well. I need to get off this screen now. I'm just playing. It doesn't matter. That was funny. I've been your host, nonetheless, Ryan Keir 2, or Ryan Keir of quantiumresearch.co.uk, and now Quantium Research Limited. There are going to be a lot of videos coming out soon. I've produced these videos along with my team for, hopefully, educational purposes, and also a bit of fun if you want to look back from different trading videos, or maybe just watch actual systems in action. But nonetheless, I've been Ryan Keir of Quantium Research, and this has been another stream. Thank you so much for coming along. Shout out to everybody that's tuned in. We're going to hold the AO trade, obviously. We're not expecting to get out today, really. We're comfortable with it. Some hedge funds are trimming off. We don't mind that. But it's not a big deal. We're going to now catch some sun because the weather's looking better. So you must remember, yeah? Don't buy anything people recommend to you. Don't do that. If you get a random call saying buy Bitcoin, it's at 22,000. I'm very serious right now. How much are you going to buy? Do 1,000, all that. Don't answer that. Just waste their time. That's the best way to get around it. But anyways, all the best, guys. I'll catch you all